Okay, part two. Last time we talked about quick wins, and you did not like any of them,
No, I did.
besides maybe
Just
two.
yeah, whatever.
We had two totally different perspectives, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But in thinking about all of that, it makes you wonder, like, why do you even have to play these like games with yourself in the first place? Like, what's going on that you feel like you need momentum or feel like you've lost momentum in the first place? And you see all these things that say, just do it. Like, you got to rely on dedication, not motivation. And while all that is true, it's not as simple as saying, I don't feel like it, just go do it. So if you think about all the times that workouts are the first to go, a lot of times that happens when you're in a state of overwhelm. Kids have sports, you got work going on, your house is a mess, and everything is just, and you're like, how could I possibly add one more thing? And then it keeps getting thrown to the wayside. And you keep disappointing yourself because you keep saying, I'll figure it out tomorrow. I'll figure it out tomorrow. You got a plan. And then you're so jumbled that your plan goes out the window and you still don't get it. And then you're even more mad at yourself. So when there's other times it's maybe a lack of progress, and so you're just sick of it, like, why am I spinning my wheels for nothing? Or maybe even a lack of confidence and you don't even realize that it's a lack of confidence, but you know when you do that workout you're going to feel like shit because you haven't worked out in a long time and you're not looking forward to seeing how out of shape you are, so you just keep pushing it off. Sometimes you're just bored. Like, you've been doing the same thing. We talked for a second about oversimplifying. Like, I'm tired of doing another push up a day every day for the next 15 days. Like, I don't want to. I'm bored of it. So there are things you can do in each of those situations to get yourself out of it, where maybe it's not necessarily building motivation or momentum, quote unquote, but you're getting to the root of it so that you can actually get back to what you set out to do in the first place. So I'm overwhelmed all the time. I feel like my brain is in a constant state of jumble. And even me, I'll be a million miles a minute thinking I don't have time for anything. And when I sit down and really think about it, there's not really that much going on. I'm just making it a bigger deal in my head than it needs to be.
Mhm.
So if you want to talk about quick wins and ways to dig yourself out of these holes that you find yourself in, I mean, one of them, if you're in that state of overwhelm, sit down and just like brain dump. Get out a piece of paper, get out the notes in your phone, make a list of all the things that you're trying to accomplish, all the things that are stuck in your head, and really look at it and prioritize for a second. Because once you look at it all, you are probably going to realize, like, okay, this is more doable than I thought. It was just such a disorganized, jumbled mess in your head that you couldn't see through that. You were so overwhelmed with, I got to do this and this and this and that, that you didn't realize, like, all right, well, I can vacuum the living room later. Like, that'll be waiting for me after my workout. It'll take 5 minutes. Not that serious. Got to clean the kitchen up. Cool. That'll take 10 minutes. And when you really sit down and look at it, you can find a place to put your workout 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it, like that sounds more like you're just putting it off. Like it's because you flat out just don't want to do it. You're
And that,
procrastinating it because anything else becomes monumentally more important when faced with doing something that you should be doing or that you don't really want to do.
oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
if you take that sentiment and replace exercise with, if you're a student, replace that with homework. If there's always going to be other things that aren't that important, but have become more important in your routine that when accomplished feel more accomplishing, I guess. You feel more accomplished by doing the
Like, you
smaller
check
things.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's your
Because then you
routine
look around, your
requires
kitchen's
that.
clean. Yeah. You
Yeah,
go to make lunch and shit's
yeah.
not in the way. And you're like, oh, I'm so
And the
glad I cleaned the
feeling
kitchen.
of knowing that that's going to make the routine easier tomorrow is more gratifying than getting a workout in because unfortunately the exercise, there is no immediate reward unless you set your mind right, against it in the first place because Yeah, I don't think we're disagreeing with that. For you go ahead and say I'm going to prioritize my workout, and then you go do your workout, and like now the place is still a shit show, and now you're sweaty and tired, and everything's still undone. It's like, well, what the fuck did I do that for? Like I made it worse, and that's how that's how it works. So I
I,
think it's you
I,
got to make it. You have to either take the priority away or lessen
mhm.
the importance of the other things, or at least reprioritize them.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a lot. When I was a teacher, I used to do that all the time. I'd brain dump all the things I had to get done that day, grade the math test, uh, plan the small groups for tomorrow, email this parent. And when you write it down, it's like, all right, well, grades are due today. So I can't put that off anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Email the parent. It's not super urgent. I could do that after school. So that'll be number 2. And I would number them in order of importance and get at it in that order. And when I look at things like working out, a lot of times I'll brain dump like that. And it's like, all right, I got to clean the kitchen, vacuum the living room. I got to prep dinner because nobody's going to be home till 8 o'clock tonight. Cool. I also got to get my workout in. The workout is the hardest thing to do when my kids are home. I usually try and work out when my kids are not around. When they were little, it was when they were napping or, during the time that I let them on their iPads or whatever. So in that way, it almost feeds into not only prioritizing, but kind of like managing your energy and knowing
Mm-hmm.
if I save my workout to when my kids are home, it's not happening. It will not be happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to make sure I get that done while my kids are gone. Now, I can vacuum and clean the kitchen while they're home. That is no big deal. I do that all the time. So let me just like take that off my stressors right now and know that I can do that later when they're home, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think about it that way, you start to see like, all right, well, I'm really making a bigger deal out of this than I needed to in the first place. And then that makes it easier to start seeing where you can fit it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you eliminate that issue. I think what you're talking about, it does get into some of that boredom. It's like, well, you just don't want to do it. And you just don't want to do it usually because you have reached your limit in what you're already doing. Like maybe you need to up the ante, change your workout setup a little bit, increase your weights, give yourself the harder exercise instead of the
Well,
modification.
it's got to be when it's more fun, or more, if it's something you can change to something that you look forward to. That will trump whatever you feel like needs to be done because you look
Exactly.
forward to it. So
Yeah.
again, that's
That's like
that's the
where last time we
perspective thing
talked
all over again.
yeah.
Like, but half the stuff you're talking about when you that's like a brain dump. If you're somebody, like if it's nice outside, brain dump while you walk, and you kill two birds with one stone. If you got a
Yeah.
treadmill, same difference.
Yep.
You know, I writing stuff down becomes tedious. I've tried that before myself personally, and as an ADHD bastard, it makes it worse in a way because then I start dumping. The next thing you know, I'm dumping shit that wasn't even there in the first place. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, I wasn't even. Oh, wait, I forgot I was supposed to do that, and then you just, that's terrible. But if if it's not nice outside, and you don't have a gym to go to, and you don't have a treadmill or whatever, like that's okay. That's different because it's not the easiest thing to concentrate on reps while you're dumping, unless you're on the
Yes.
toilet. But but if you can think about, at the end of the day, it's more about like make one of those things that you have to get done. Again, set aside, set period of time where you can get the reps in and say, I'm going to go for this. Or
Yes.
like we said, your goal is, like, all right, I'm going to carve out a half hour. And in this half hour, I want to do the push-ups or whatever we were talking about. And if I used the whole half hour and I didn't hit my goal, well, I targeted my goal for the sake of what we were talking about in the first episode. And I'm using the time to not for the motivation, but rather to reprioritize in the schedule. And just know that, and here's the trick is to just go into it. If you're somebody who keeps putting it off, is go into it knowing there's not going to be some epiphany during it. Now,
Yeah.
there might be, but I wouldn't count on it. Like the first step is almost always unrewarding.
Yeah.
Okay. and if it is rewarding to you, then you probably are already past this point and know what to look for. But if we're talking about a situation where you are, you're constantly putting it off, and you're really, really good at not finding the time to get it done, but rather you're really good at finding the excuses. Are you really good at finding all the reasons that you can't do this, that, and the other? Then they're not reasons, they're excuses. But again, that goes right back to the beginning, the whole, perspective side of things. So
Yeah,
I didn't
and
want it to be a topical answer, or shallow, whatever you were saying, but it really is
it
that
always goes.
simple
Yeah,
when you think about it. It's just,
yeah,
can you
I know.
put yourself through that lens? Can you see it?
Right. It's funny you say that about ADHD. My ADHD brain needs to write it down, and that like calms me. That like quiets the noise. Now, before I was
Because you're a
medicated,
control freak.
I know. Before I was medicated for ADHD, I would have 97 lists all over the place of all my brain dumps. They all said the same thing in different orders. One was in my planner, one was in my phone, one's on my fridge. And I'd be like, wait, gotta make a list. And then I'd go back. It was a mess.
But see,
But
I was different because the workouts to me was my brain dump. I would
yes.
rather
And that
choose to
makes a
ignore
lot
it
of
all
sense. Yeah.
because why are you choosing to ignore what, well, that's important. How can you, not take care of this and the other? And I would tell myself, because if I'm dead, it doesn't matter anyway. Now
Yeah.
it's extreme. Now, I get it, man. My
But you're
viewpoints
not
are somewhat
wrong.
extreme, but I don't go bonsai on it. But I just know, like, all right, like sometimes when you get frustrated, we tell our kids just walk away, take a
Yeah.
breath, walk away, right? Well, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. Like adults,
Yes.
we're no different. We're just grown-ups we're kids with grown-up money, right? So
Yes.
our problems are serious as shit. So it's like I'll deliberately put it down, walk away, do my workout. I'll know going in, I'm not going to expect some awesome Rocky Balboa type workout. My expectation is I'm going to go until I can just feel better about the shit I walked away from.
Yep.
Because you just might get a different perspective about all those things, and you realize, like you're saying, it's not that important. You know what I'm saying? When I was building this house by my goddamn self, there were plenty of times I would call you, you just to, to touch base, whatever, and I'd be just like, oh my god, I'm about to put my face in front of my truck while I drive it. I can't. This is fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? It was
Yes.
terrible. There was so many overthinking. I was having analysis paralysis, worse than I've ever had, and I would get the most juju ass workouts in an open shipping container with walls cut down with my fit kit strap hanging from the D rings on the top of the rail. And it was not like, and it was like February. So it wasn't like I'm getting this massive pump feeling like I'm on Venice Beach, but it got rid of the guilt for not getting it done. That caused my anxiety. It got my heart rate up better than trying not to fall off the scaffolding. It was a legitimate cardiovascular experience. And when I got back down from doing those workouts, it was like I would look at the shit I had to do and say, man, like I could have just done this or that. And all of a sudden the solution I realized was right in front of me the whole time. But because I had been letting it tack on, it made it way worse. Now, here's the irony, okay? Exercise is just a task. It's the same shit as vacuuming the living room. Okay, it's the same. It carries arguably the same amount of I don't want to say importance, but let's just say weight, no pun intended, because you realize when you start, all your chores of cleaning a house, you realize, like, well, it was overwhelming because it was a lot to do, but really, it's not going to take me 2 days to vacuum the living room. It sucks to
Yeah.
have to unravel the cord and move shit out the way so that the vacuum doesn't suck up everything. And, but when you get to it, it's like, well, shit, that really wasn't that bad. Just
Every
like the
time.
workout, you survived the first 5 minutes. Shit,
Exactly.
that really wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So having the right idea, the right perspective around it can make things a lot easier. But you have to simplify the shit. Even if it's still a problem, simplify the problem.
Yeah, the highest performing TikTok we've ever had is just a stupid video of me driving, and over the top it says just me driving to my workout or driving to the gym, ignoring ignoring the fact that my house looks like a bomb just went off or something like that.
It is?
And yeah. Oh my, yeah.
Wow.
Like
I thought we were too old to be on TikTok. I'm never on TikTok. I don't,
we have quite the TikTok. We post TikToks every day. Two of them.
we have quite the TikTok.
We do have quite the TikTok. But anyways, there were tens of thousands of people that watched it and commented like, "Oh my
What?
gosh, yes, it was." Yeah, let me pull it up because
Tens of thousands of people watching the TikTok.
I swear to God, yes,
TikTok.
I'm gonna pull it up right now
Holy
if I
shit.
could find
Oh,
it.
ain't that some shit?
Yes, and everybody's commenting like, "Listen, it's like, oh, that makes so much sense."
This is where Gary Vee would jump in and say, "That's your cohorts."
I know, right? Yep, it had 35,000 views, which is a lot for us. A lot. 631 shares. 631 people shared that.
That's the paid ad we need to get at.
128 comments, 155 saves, almost 3,000 likes. And listen, most of our TikToks get like, we are not like that popular on any social media. I mean, most of ours, when we get to 1,000, it's like, yeah, we did it. But it's usually in the hundreds somewhere, in the low hundreds. So to have 35,000 people, 600 people sharing it, like that's wild.
Trying to find it, but I have to switch.
I'll send it to you. And when I showed it to you, you're like, wow, that's the dumbest TikTok I ever saw. I was like, well, people like it.
All right, well, I'll look at it later. We can see it.
I'll show you later. But in any case, that's because, and that kind of goes with what you just said, where it's like you realize that shit is not that big of a deal. It will be there for me when I get home. Everything will be fine. And if you can realize that and take like the scary overwhelm out of it, then that's all that matters. And whether that means you brain dump or you go for a walk or you just start and you use that as your like calm down, like there's your momentum. There's your progress right there. Did your stomach just rumble?
No. Did it? I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe it was fine. I heard something.
Maybe you
I
farted.
No, I did not. One of the other times I think people start to put it off is when they feel like a lack of confidence, and maybe they don't recognize it as a lack of confidence, but it's that feeling of like, man, this is gonna suck and I'm just not ready to face it yet. Or you're feeling so bad about how far you've let yourself get off track that you're just kind of avoiding everything related to exercise because you feel so icky, you know what I mean? Someone came in the other day and she said, "Okay, I'm back. We really got to get to it. I saw a picture of myself the other day and I cannot look at myself like that anymore. I am like, I'm going to be 150% in, 200% in, like I'm ready." I said, "You need to pull that picture up and put it as the background on your phone, because that pain point, that like mentality you have right now is the mentality that's going to make you show up when you don't want to. And it's going to make you put all those excuses away, because you're going to see it right there every time you pick up your phone and you're going to be like, oh, it's going to remind you. Those pain points are the places that people don't want to go, but it's the place you need to go and you need to remind yourself of over and over and over again. Otherwise, it's going to be real easy to push it back and do the avoidance game. And now you don't show up at all anymore, because you're so afraid of what you might discover once you get there. I got to check with her when she comes in today and see if she made it the background in front. That just happened on Monday. I was like, you need to put that as your background right now. Like, I'll do it for you. But you end up putting it off because, and what you don't even realize, which goes back to the emotional intelligence and all that again, is what you don't realize is that you're putting it off because you're afraid. Like, you're afraid of remembering how far off you've let yourself get.
Yeah, from a deep standpoint, I mean, it's also
Yeah,
possible that you just, like you just don't like sweating. You just,
Just don't feel like it.
and it's, I mean, at the end of the day, what are we talking about? What are
Mm-hmm.
we, what is it, what are we really talking about right now? Why
Mm-hmm.
someone doesn't have motivation? Why
Mm-hmm.
it's not prioritized? Like what exactly is the thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's, I simplify the shit. Like, yeah, I mean, we're all afraid of something. We all have some sort of regret we're trying to overcome, or but it's hard to, especially when you go living in the past. It's hard to, you can't rewrite history. You know what I'm saying? You can
Mm-mm.
change your
Mm-hmm.
future by how you make decisions in the present, but trying to change shit that already happened when you're a different person, it's like apples and oranges, man.
Yeah,
So
you can't go back and unlet yourself get, quote unquote, out of control. All you
yeah,
can do now is respond to where you're at
yeah,
and
yeah.
plan
If
to
you're an
make it better
asshole,
for the future.
if you were an asshole, you can't change the asshole things you did, but you can stop yourself from being a fucking asshole. I mean, and that's a victory. If you think about it. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you, you didn't get out of shape. What the fuck's so funny? Think about it. I'm just trying to put it in. Like I was like
No, that's
somebody.
great.
Like why? One of my mom's friends was, like, how come you have to cuss so much in your podcast? And it's like, it's just this is how mom and I talk. Like, you do.
Hmm.
This is normal. This is this
Yeah.
language. I mean, come on.
Yes.
But
It's just words.
I'm just trying to like put it in perspective as something real. Like, I don't want to make it worse. This exercise thing is not that difficult.
It's not that difficult. There's
So I
somebody
don't want to
today
get too
was
deep talking about it. Don't you remember who you are?
well, and think about it
Play
like this
instrumental music
too.
in the background and shit. Like,
Yeah.
just don't be a fucking
Someone
asshole.
talk about all this tragedy in their life that they've gotten through, and they've done this and that, and their their brother died, and their house burned down, all these things. And it's like, and you're worried about eating chicken and rice? Like, you think that's going to be the hard part of life? Like, you've already done the hard part.
Yeah.
It is wild that your brain can fuck you up like that, to think I can get through like the death of somebody in my immediate everyday life, but I can't eat some chicken and rice. Like, that's insane when you put
Well,
it like that.
people, we
And
often
it's,
will hold reward in things that we were reacting to. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's when especially if it's a reflex action kind of thing. Something bad happens. This is your general reaction is to
pull back.
bam, like whatever that is. And it's a lot of these like fantastic stories or documentaries that you'll hear and read or see on Netflix and whatnot will always be how great something was or something that happened. But if you really think about it, I highly doubt that the people that did those things were thinking about that particular aspect when it was happening. They're
Hmm.
just doing what came with it. And when you look back, it's like, wow, that was really, you know what I'm saying? Jordan
Hmm.
did all of this, but that's just who he was. I mean, you know what I mean? There's no way I guarantee he wasn't coming out of UNC talking about he was going to be the GOAT
The most famous person in the world.
ever in every platform, like as if social media was
Yes.
already around. Like he wasn't thinking that. Like at
Right.
the time, he was just going to be, he wasn't even drafted number one, for fuck's sake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those things, you can react to those bad times and things. And what makes the exercise component so difficult is it's not reactive.
Hmm.
You have to choose that shit. That's what makes it scary, because with choice comes, it's a cause and effect thing. If you're going to cause it, you know what's going to happen on the other end, and now you're going to have to react on something that you did, but you don't know what that's going to bring to you. So maybe like that's where things could get scary. But I mean, simplifying things down, there are worse things you could be doing. There are worse things you could be, nervous about than that. Like if you want to prioritize other shit, cool. And then don't get me wrong, I've had times I've put my workouts aside for shit that probably shouldn't have been taken to forefront, but I don't regret doing them.
Right.
But that's only because I knew what time it was when I went into it. I knew what to expect. Like if I put this off, that means done. But I tell myself, no effing way do you get past, 2 days without exercising. And yes, sometimes it goes 3 days, 4 days. It's, and
But
I switch my expectations and just know if I get at it, I'm going to be sore for a week. But
But you also understand too, that it's not like you're never going to work out again. You haven't failed because you prioritize something else over your workout. You're just you're going to
Yeah.
get back to it tomorrow. You're going to get back to it the next day. Like it's I feel like that's a different I was talking to someone today who
Yeah.
client who's historically been very stressed out over the number on the scale. Everything revolved around it. I'm doing everything and it's just not working. And she sent me a big, long, I guess, brain dump yesterday. And part of it was, listen, I'm never going to be the person with a six pack. And I'm cool with that. I understand that now, and I'm 100% okay with that. What I didn't realize when I started this journey was that my goal never was actually the six pack. My goal was to feel confident. It was to feel happy. It was to stop being so stressed out over how much I weigh. It was for my clothes to fit better, for me to be able to hang out with my family and not stress about what we're eating. And I don't need the six pack. I'm good. This is, and I told her, I'm like, you have just cracked the code. Like you
Yeah.
have figured it out.
Yeah.
This is now how you've turned this into a lifestyle. And we've talked about her on this podcast before in the frame that she said, I'll do anything. I just need to get under that 160 pounds. Nothing's working. And we had to oversimplify her food. We've talked about her before. And it was always like, okay, but what are you really after? And she's finally found it. And I told her, I said, that's how you have now how you know that you've made this into a lifestyle. She goes, I always make this pumpkin sourdough bread. So today I started experimenting with using like vanilla protein powder instead of flour. And we always make this soup. And I'm asking myself, all right, how can I bump up the protein? I'm using bone broth instead of regular broth. I'm like, see, now you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
when you hit an obstacle, you got to take a week off because you're sick or whatever. You're not going to stress about it because you know this is your life now,
Mm-hmm.
and next week you're going to be right back to it. Like you've figured it out,
Yeah.
and that's what it comes down to, which is deeper. It took her. I've been working with her since January. It took her. It's now October, 10 months to get there.
Yeah.
But
Unless you're in Oklahoma, then it's still fucking August.
but finding that out along the way was made up of a lot of this simple stuff where it was you are stressed out. All right, let's get your workout in, see how you feel afterward. You're overwhelmed by all the macro counting and the cooking. All right, let's simplify your food. And it came down to all of these simple things for her brain to be freed up enough to be like, wait a minute, what am I actually after here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think that seems to be a big theme too in everything that we talk about, besides the emotional intelligence and the knowing your why and all of that stuff that everybody talks about, just to like simplify.
Mm-hmm.
Like the road to all of that, as
Yeah.
complicated as it is really to simplify.
Yeah. And then people say, like, oh, well, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It's like, okay, how about you sit with Chris for 15 minutes? Like, let's get deep then.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's if you
'cause
want
we
to go down that
could.
rabbit hole, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see how long
But
you last. It's not
yeah,
that serious.
no,
It's not that serious. You know.
it's not that serious. If you're looking for momentum, the answer is you probably already have it somewhere. You just have to
It's always momentum is a
fleeting.
$2 whore, man. Everyone can afford it. You have to just go get it. Like anybody can get it. You know what I'm saying? You spend $2, you get that whore. Somebody's going to come with $4 and they're going to take it right back from you. And then in sports they call that a momentum shift. But then when somebody's just banging the whore, you know what I mean? So just find your groove, bang the whore, get it done. You know what I'm saying? That'd be awesome. Like, comment bang the whore, you're gonna get a protein shot, protein powder from us. Hashtag bang the whore, get some creatine. That's kind of funny if you actually redo that. Let's make that TikTok into an ad. Just hashtag and bang the whore.
Hashtag big whore. Get a workout.
Fist in the.
Oh man.
I really enjoy being inappropriate. Fuck it. I don't care. It's not that. It's fun. It's
It's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Like when you get all sweaty and disgusting, and it's awful and uncomfortable. The more you make fun of it, the more fun it becomes. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like the first
yeah.
time I worked out, the first time it was hot at Lifetime. It was one of these Lifetime Fitness place I used to work at, and sweaty ass people, just oh man. And somebody sat down. It was a female sat down, and she got up, and you leave a swash mark or whatever, right? And so she had sat down, and she got up, and moved. I said, God damn, you left the swissy mark. And if you ever heard a fitness floor cry out in unison the same amount of laughter, it was the most momentum shifting energy shift in the room,
Yeah.
because it wasn't like I can see why it could potentially have been embarrassing, but I know my crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know what I'm saying? It was just different. It was funny. You start to make fun of it, and all of a sudden, everyone is lighthearted, and everyone's just like, "Wow, you know what? This is cool." Like, it's a great experience. It doesn't have to be failure, 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 failure. Unless
Yes.
that's the funny thing about it. You're in a workout that muscle growth comes from going to failure. Like I get it, man. But it's about programming and perspective. It's about what have you in your mind, like. I say this word, what comes to mind? You know what I mean? And you got to kind of go after, reverse engineer it from there and say, well, why the fuck? Why? What am I really doing here? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's a lot of the momentum in here, like at commit, everybody,
Oh, I
our,
got a big swissy mark. You too, girl. High five. Yeah. Oh,
not like
dang,
that.
girl. Get a razor, nasty.
No, ours is, I mean, when people start to look miserable, if you just yell out like, "This is so much fun, everybody, we're having so much fun," like that is an immediate like the energy shifts from like, "Why the fuck am I here?" to like, "Oh yeah, this is fun." Everybody starts
Yeah.
laughing. It's like, "Oh yeah, it's so fun,"
Go around the
but
next time you have a full class and say, I want everybody to tell me one thing that is worse than this.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? One thing they would truly rather be doing than this. And then when they'll tell you like, oh, I'm on vacation or whatever else, it's like, I would rather be on a beach. Okay, cool. Why aren't you there then? Well, you could have planned that trip. You could have, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a good way to identify goals and put the now in perspective. And I love playing the would you rather game and shit like that, because it's just, would you rather lose 65 pounds or chop your kid's foot off? Like, chop your kid's foot off, you get the 65 pounds off. How about, which would you do? And, no parents ever, I mean, some parents might, but, for all intents and purposes, that, playing the would you rather game is a fun way to get perspective, and the process of getting things into perspective, fun, tax-free, and really just a weightless mind shift. And all of a sudden it's kind of like, all right, cool. Like, fuck, I got to run, a half mile on a treadmill. Well, shit, at least it ain't 50 rungs on a fucking Jacob's ladder.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yes,
Fuck, I
we
got
play
to do
that game
50
also.
rungs on a Jacob's ladder. Shit, it's a lot better than doing fucking 25 deadlifts at a 1 rep max weight kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something worse. There's always something worse. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And while there
Yep.
could be always something better, that something just might be you. Maybe you can just get better, and all of a sudden things aren't that bad. So,
Somebody,
moral of the story is, don't be a fucking asshole, and don't leave swissy marks if you're a female. It's just fucking gross. Don't forget to flush.